Hey everyone, jingle bell, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. Batmobile lost a wheel and Joker got away. All right, well, here we go again with another build party. And today I'm going to continue working on the Amt 1977 Ford, uh, the Coca-Cola van. It's been pretty dry out here in Alberta. Dry weather. Yeah. So I know this is December the 18th or so I'm not too sure how many people are going to be joining us today because there's still a weekend worth of Christmas shopping to go before the big night on the 24th, 5th. So could be interesting. Anyway, so here we have the AMT 1977 Ford Coca-Cola Edition. And as you can see on the side of the box, we've got like the Coca-Cola um, cases with the bottles, our Coke machine, and the really awesome stock Ford wheels on here with the red line tires. And then on the other side, we have our Coca-Cola decals and our van, the white version of the van, and then the red one, sort of like the Beatles, where they had the white album, sort of thing. So my name, of course, is Trevor Ursulescu, owner of Monster Hobbies in High River, Alberta, Canada. Uh, our website is priced in Canadian dollars. We offer free shipping on Canadian orders over $75 or more. We accept PayPal. Yeah, free shipping Canadian orders. We accept PayPal and credit cards on our secure payment system, which means that when you use your credit card on our shopping cart over at www.monster-hobbies.ca, uh, once your order is processed, all your information is eliminated, so no one can even find it, not even myself. If you use the promo code YouTube as one word in lowercase letters at the checkout, you can save 10% on your next purchase. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter over here off the side. Well, so last week in our build, can you believe this is video 5 already from this build? I got working on these nice seats from our Ford kit. As you can see, they turn out really nicely. Now, I'm not going to fill in the seam lines in here, or the gaps, with putty. I thought I would just try to build this basically straight out of the box, including the factory errors with the thing, which is okay. I mean, it gives a simple way of seeing how this model all goes together. So we don't have too many people tuning in today, but if you wish, let me know what you're working on over here in the sidebar. This show must go on, as they say. So even if I'm only doing this on my own today, at least someone can tune in later and see what's going on. So in one of the earlier videos, as a recap, I finished off the frame, and that required gluing in all these separate little frame rails and stuff. Turned out not too badly. You do get the front cross brace molded in place. There are some sink marks along the sides in here, which would be nice to fill. I also added in the bars in on the bottom in an earlier live stream. So you can always check out all these live streams in our video. What do you call it? It's not a playlist. Well, I guess maybe it is. Anyway, yeah, it is actually. So check them out in there. And what else did I do for recap? I got our Ford engine in here. This is a Windsor, and I got that all prepped up and ready for paint. And what I'm thinking of doing is next week is Christmas itself, right? So I'm not going to be doing a live stream. And then the following weekend is New Year's Eve. There's the steering wheel. It's New Year's Eve, so I'm also thinking of dashboard of not doing a live stream. But I think what I might do instead is I might just make pre-made videos and then release them for that time, because I do have quite a bit of things I could paint on here, like painting our engine block, right? So what I might do is, instead of next week doing the live stream, because it is going to be Christmas, So I don't want to be interrupting everyone's Christmas and like, hey, where's all my guys for the live stream right now? Because right. So what I'll do instead is I might make a video, or I might not, but I might make a video just of me painting these things and then release that one Christmas Day. And then the following week is New Year's Eve, so or New Year's Day. So I might do the same, just make another video, maybe I don't know, gluing chrome pieces on, painting off the or scraping off the paint on the parts or something. And then the week after, so in January, come back and do more of the live stream part of this. Provided I can get that done, it seems to make more sense. But of course, now I've got all my kids at home and everything because their school just ended. So that's going to prove to be another kind of challenge. Okay, so yeah, I got quite a fair bit of parts done. So what can I do next on this? Well, I can put the parts back in the box. I've still got these over here. So maybe what I'll do today is I will, if you don't mind, I think I'll do the body and the hood here and that inner firewall and the rad support and those kind of things. So that will be my assignment for the day. And I can see more people are joining in now. So let me know in the sidebar what you brought here and what you plan to be working on and hope to accomplish for today. Ooh, so actually, let us start with the braces and things, like front firewall. Okay, so I'll just remove these from the parts tree. There's our firewall and inner fenders. And if you've watched my other unboxings on these van kits from Ford, or Amt Ford van kits, you'll notice that this one ends up being snapped in the middle, or like in the one I unboxed that was James' model, it was like warped way out. So this is actually nice to have one that's flat and looks proper. And I do believe that this part glues up here. Yeah, that looks like the right location. Oh, and that's on the front of our body here. So how many people have got their Christmas shopping done? I sort of kind of have it, but the problem we have is we only have one vehicle. So we're all, myself, my wife, my two daughters, we're all Christmas shopping at the exact same moment, in the exact same store, in the exact same location, but not down the exact same aisle. So we have to play sort of this James Bond style cat and mouse. Hey, number one has joined the group. He says, I'm ready and eager to paint lots of parts and a few bodies, but it's -20. Paint freezes before it lands. Yeah, exactly. That's what we got here in where I am. Same deal. So this is going to be interesting because I got to paint outside. I don't have a indoor spray booth. So, but yeah, that one car affair is rather difficult at times, like every time. So I'm just scraped the seam line off the top of the rad support, and I'm sanding it down with some really worn out 400 grade sandpaper, but it makes it nice and smooth. And it means that I don't have to go get the 600 grade. I have been selling quite a few model cars and whatnot on the website. So that means that I'm going to have to get some more. Hey, Rob, Altis is here. I'm doing some painting myself, but it's a bit warmer in Los Angeles. Ooh, can we mail our stuff down and you can paint it for us? Actually, I'll tell you one good thing about Alberta. Even though it gets cold, we do have a dry climate, or a drier climate than British Columbia, which was where I used to live. But what's good about that is the trim clad rust paint that I use, it's enamel. It comes up really glossy and shiny out here in Alberta because of that dry weather. And in fact, I've got an example, but I don't know how glossy this will turn out. You can see a bit of a shine in this. This is a Hot Wheel car I painted, and that is trim clad orange and green on the roof and black in the front. But it's got a real nice high gloss to it. And I noticed in British Columbia, where the humidity is more, higher, the water vapor is everywhere in the air and everything. Of course, coming off of a coastal location, I noticed that a lot of the enamels end up sort of being semi-gloss, even though they say gloss on the side of the can. And that seems to be the issue out there, is that the humidity is so bad that it makes glossy paint jobs appear sort of satin, which, unless you're going for that look, is okay. But I've noticed it with my old model cars up top and on my shelves and everything, that it's just not the most ideal condition. But out here, it's just like ultra high gloss right out of the can. Sprays and dries really nicely. So now the reason why I am sanding down these seam lines, and you round them with your sandpaper as you go. So like, this sort of thing, right? You round them just a little slight bit so that when paint lands on a seam line, the seam line, if you explode it or zoom in, is actually like this. So the paint will peel away or move away from that high ridge that's up. But if you round it, then the paint will, form to the rounded edge quite a lot better and not try to peel away off the edges. So that's always good. And I got to do some research on these Ford vans to see like the little minute details that many people miss when building these kits. Things like, is the area under the hood gloss black or is it body color? And it depends on what vehicles you have, because Chryslers and that sort of thing, they were body color under the hoods. Now we're talking like 70s Mopars and things, eh? For home business. Well, number one is saying, Trev, there are more than a few classic pickups for sale in High River area for Danny for a Christmas present. Shop truck. Second vehicle write-off for home business. As a model kit? Or as real cars, maybe. How'd the grant research pan out? I haven't done the grant research. Didn't get time to. All the other things going on. But it's not really... Yeah, see, I don't have any of that money. And the second part of that second vehicle, of course, is getting it with the insurance company. It's not the right time for that financially, unfortunately. But it would be nice. But in some good news, I get to borrow the mother-in-law's car for a little bit. So when it gets too cold for the kids to walk into school starting this January, I guess, then we can borrow the grandma's car. So it's not too bad. Then she pays for the insurance, gets me the extension. So on the back side of this radiator wall, there are two at least, no, four mold mark buttons. So I'm going to get rid of those by using my number 16 blade. Somebody once asked me why I don't use the number 11 blade in here. And the reason is just trying to get that tip down in there is not very secure, right? Because you're going to the weakest point of your blade. And also too, three words you don't put together. Also, if you look, the number 16 blade is all blade and it's got the thick wall right here. So you can really get in nice and flat to that area. So that's why I don't use the number 11 right there. But really, I could use this file, which would also get in. The only problem with that is there's not enough room to push. So it'll take a little longer. I mean, yeah, heck with it. Let's use the 16 blade. Now I get to hear the horrible scraping sound. Actually, I would like, if it wasn't so much money and gas and everything, I would like to get one, maybe not the Ford, but remember there was the big three, the Ford van, which is the Econoline, the Dodge Ram van, and then the Chevy, whatever that one was. I can't remember if GMC had a van. I think they were just strictly trucks. But I kind of like one from that era. But then you're talking that, first off, they seem to be really hard to find. And then second off, they all have the big monsters V8 engines in there. So, I mean, trying to conserve gas. But then again, with the business being at home, well, even from before, I wasn't really going anywhere where I needed a van like that to load up with anything. Yeah, because Alberta used to have hobby wholesalers, like down in Calgary area. And then right around maybe 2000, because I started the business in 2004. Well, the Vandura. Okay, cool. Thanks, Rob. So I started the business around 2004, and at that time there was a lot of hobby wholesalers in Alberta, and not very far away from my hobby shop and everything else. But then when that big 2008 recession came in, a lot of those wholesalers closed up, and then Bob and Doug McKenzie drove a GMC. And what did Red Green have? I think that was a Dodge, the Possum wagon. Yeah, I think that's a Dodge one, like an 88 or something, 86 maybe. But so the wholesalers up in Alberta went out of business, except for this one. I'm not going to mention the name. Well, the A-Team was a Vandura. Okay, cool. I'm not going to mention the name of this wholesaler, but they have a woman that works for them. And they shouldn't. I mean, not that they shouldn't have a woman. They shouldn't have this woman. This woman, every time I walked in there, would just grill me about, who are you? Why are you here? You shouldn't be here. We only offer this, that, and the other thing. And I need to see your wholesaler or your retail license. And oh man, like just every time, like didn't matter if I had gone there like 5 times in a week. Same thing every time with this woman. It's just like, stop. Do you want my money or not? Eventually I stopped going there because just, man. It just gets under your skin when people are constantly having to question. It's not like I was going there breaking in at 3 in the morning or something stupid. Like it's just regular working hours. Then even some other people in there were like, hey, calm down. It's okay. He's here to buy stuff. Just, that was a really weird place. So I don't go there anymore. And the other reason why I don't go there is because they had die-cast stuff, but then the majority of it was like this, of the items in that wholesaler were the stuff you got at dollar stores. So like the dollar store sewing needles and the little really cheap tool sets, and that kind of stuff. So it didn't really match what Monster Hobbies was. Then they started to bring in some model cars, but it was like very few. So there wasn't really any point. And then plus that whole, who are you? What are you doing? Why are you here? Like that all combined to make me never go there again. So unfortunately, uh, anyway, so sometimes it just depends on who you hire as a business. Anyway, but yeah, I kind of stopped going there around 2010. So that tells you how long ago that was. Now I bet if I did come in, she'd be justified in asking who I was. But why risk it? Ah, man. Okay. Maybe she was working on her Karen badge. Bad. Okay, so just smoothing out the surfaces here that I scraped down. Yeah, so what is everybody working on today? 21 minutes into the video. Any items on the Boxing Day sale you want to tell us about? Well, I don't know. Basically, unfortunately, for this year, what I have is really what I have. So maybe I should set up a coupon again that says something about Boxing Day sale. Uh, maybe I should make it like the Black Friday sale and do a 10% or 15% off store wide, and then run that for maybe a week or something. Yeah, I should get on that. Like I said, so much stuff to do. Okay, so this is done. There it goes back in the box, and then we can get our firewall in here done. Now, I better be careful on this, considering that I just reviewed 2 kits where this thing was broken, and this is the 3rd one that is not broken. Boxing week is the hey, we got Christmas money now and we want to spend it week. Or for you guys anyway. And a good time to maybe clear out the old chaff of my model kit for sale collection. Okay, so I'm going to switch to the number 11 blade. I wonder if any of you are into other models and whatnot, because I have sci-fi stuff. I've got a lot of World War II 1/72 scale things. Hey, I didn't say 20%. I said 15, 1/5. But anyway, yeah, I've got other things like comic books and collector cards. I've been trying to get into the computer, which I've got thousands of these things. Stuff like this, like the artist series from Skybox. Of course, Doctor Strange, right? I've got to get him in, but so much to do. And I've also got to figure out what I'm going to be doing for next year for the hobby shop. considering now I can get a more of a straight run. Like, what I mean is, so in September, we had to close down the brick and mortar store. And then I've been trying to get everything, uploaded onto the website and make sure that the items that I had on the website matched my actual inventory numbers at home here. We also had to, well, first off, unpack the store because when we moved, it was in such a hurry and we ran out of cardboard boxes. So people started putting everything into plastic bags and all this kind of thing. So that was quite a lot. Like, it takes a lot of time to go from, a nice box that's labeled that you know what's inside it to like random plastic bags. I can see number one is pushing his luck here. So things got moved into random plastic bags. And yeah, it's just been all this time trying to sort it all out, figure out what's in there, figure out if I have that on the web. And then, of course, we get into the Christmas season where people are actually now wanting to buy this stuff. So it's sort of been a logistical nightmare. But next year, so for 2022, if I continue on, most of this logistical nightmare is, starting to become a dream instead of a nightmare, I guess you'd say. So the thing about that is that now I can concentrate on things like the, maybe running model kit contests on here or on the website. Now, I've been doing the Build a Monster contest, but that's only in October. And that, of course, is for monster models, spooky stuff. You can even do like the Ghostbusters car and throw it in that contest, which I wish more model car people would do because there is quite a bit of model car related things out there. So you've got all the Rat Fink type cars, the Mysterion and all that. You've got the Carl Casper's Undertaker. You have a lot of those funny, like the Beer Wagon and stuff from Monogram, from Tom Daniels. There's Dave Deal's cartoon cars. Like, all this kind of stuff can be built into that Build a Monster contest. I have 13 frightful categories. Talking about a Halloween contest at Christmas, I know. But yeah, there's quite a lot different things you can enter in. And I hardly get a showing for model cars because I think people just figure, oh, it's a monster contest, monsters only. Think in the square box, can't go outside the box or anything, right? Like, but it's not that way at all. People just need to read the categories. But then again, I can promote this quite a bit better as well. Oh yeah, Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine. That's another one you can put into there. Okay, so there we've got our inner fender wells. The perimeter of all this is now nicely sanded down. There are 2 mold marks right there where my fingers are here, which again will have to be smoothed out because on the real van there's not 2 big giant mold mark buttons sticking up right in that panel section. And even if they were, they'd be 1/25th scale. Yeah, monster trucks. Ooh, almost had a big finger cut right there. So that's not good. Okay. And it's almost time for another station identification break. In another 45 seconds. Let's see if I can get a race going on to get this cleaned up before that happens. The other thing I could do, hang on, just hold that thought. Come on. State's not in a vacation break time. Okay. Actually, now I'm enthralled with getting rid of this mold mark. Okay. That gets that done. All right, my name is Trevor Ursulescu, owner of Monster Hobbies in High River, Alberta, Canada. This address is no longer valid because we had to close down a brick and mortar store. But this one is www.monster-hobbies.ca, and the phone number still works, 403-652-5019. Just put a 1 in front of there if you're not a local number. And so I own Monster Hobbies. Our site is priced in Canadian dollars. We offer free shipping on Canadian orders over $75. We can ship anywhere in the world. We provide a tracking number so that we can always follow where your package is in case something happens. We use Canada Post. We can ship through USA, Canada, Europe, Mexico, Brazil. Anywhere Canada Post goes, we can go. We accept PayPal and credit cards on our website. We use a secure system so that if you give us your credit card information, once your order is processed, all that information gets deleted and no one can find it. And then if you use the coupon code YouTube, so I'll put that in the side box here. Oops. I guess it helps if I click there. You will save 10% on your next order. Now, just everyone knows this. That YouTube promo code is really only for you guys. So, my loyal Monster Hobbies mechanics. So, that's the deal you get. Now, on our website, on the side here, you'll find an envelope that looks like this. And it says, join our newsletter. So, you want to click on there because every 2 weeks, I'm trying to update it every 2 weeks. And I'm also going to add in some tips and techniques and whatever into those newsletters just to make them a little more, not so much of, hey, I'm selling you something, but I'm giving you some good old information. So make sure you sign up for that. And what else can I say? Maybe that's it. Yeah, because I'm not showing any models. So the other thing is, I'm thinking next week being Christmas and the week after being New Year's Eve, that we're not going to be joining here for a live stream, but I do have a lot of items from this model to paint and whatnot. So what I think I will do is maybe, if I get a chance, because it's a holiday season, maybe make a video where I'm going to show myself painting these things, because I can't really do that through the live stream, but I'll still use the same, what do you call it? The thumbnail and whatever. So that one will say number 6 and number 7. And then just make short videos. And then in January, when we've got more time and the holiday season is over and all that stuff, and nobody's in a panic anymore, like myself, to finish Christmas shopping, can actually show you, or we can actually continue with the live stream portion and get these models we're working on done, or maybe some new ones. So that's where we're at, basically. So yeah. What else can be happening now? So what I'm working on today, I think, for this van is the body and the hood. And I just finished cleaning off the rad support and radiator and the firewall, in case someone is joining us a little bit late, just so you know where we're at. Okay, so I've got that Ford hood right there. So I don't know if I should be using the clippers on these. I might make a notch right there. Okay, so I clipped enough back that it left that little bump right there on the hood. So in order to get rid of that little bump, I have a piece of 180 grit sandpaper. I know that's pretty brutal. Mounted on a chunk of MDF board. The dense, I guess consists of glue and sawdust, but it gives a nice flat edge on there. And then the sandpaper comes from an old orbital sander that I have, and it's a sticky back. So this is a big disc, and then I just cut it to match the block Quebecois. Anyway, so my dad taught me this trick. If you line this up, your sandpaper, where you can see it to what you need to sand, then it's not so difficult to smooth that out without gouging into the rest of what you're doing. So as you can see, now you got that as a nice perfect line. Now, one thing that I learned, so I took auto body collision repair when I was young. I actually have it's not really a ticket, but I guess it's the papers to apprentice somewhere. Number one is asking if I can get a hold of the 1.6 flathead Ford engine kit. Good question. All right, moving on. No, I'm not sure. I'd have to check with my wholesalers. And again, I need to reestablish the empire of Monster Hobbies, aka my money. So it all depends. And again, the wholesalers aren't like, oh, you just need one thing. Here you go. No, they're like, okay, we need a minimum order at your cost, which I'm not going to tell you what that is, of 300 US, which now means like 400 Canadian or something like that. And then you got to pay the UPS shipping and freight and all that other stuff. So add in another $150. Then we can send you that one item you need in a caseload of all this other stuff. So start figuring out what you need and order it. There's only one wholesaler I have that'll allow me to get just one item, and that's Games Workshop. So if you want Warhammer stuff, that's not a problem. The problem is everything that's not Warhammer stuff. So that'll be a bit more tricky. Again, I'm sort of caught in this issue. When we had the old store, 7/8 of all my sales were from people walking in, and 1/8 of that was from people ordering online. Now, without the brick and mortar store, you can imagine that 100% is online. So, what does that mean? Well, most people just figure that if you get a website, you're automatically going to make $1 million online because the internet is all encompassing and everything. So then when you tell them how the internet really works, they say, why don't you sell it all on eBay? And then you go, well, why am I paying $4,000 for a website? When Walmart doesn't put their crap on eBay, you know? Anyway, so what that then translates into is, all right, I have to sit down and figure out why my website is not getting as many views as eBay, Amazon, what are the other ones, and all the rest. So the answer is quite easy. I need to go over my 7,000 items that I have entered in that computer on my website and figure out if I have the proper keywords, descriptions, and all that other fun stuff that Google search engines need in order to find my items, so that when you type in 1977 AMT Ford, for example, that you actually hit my website and my website bubbles up to number one in that search listing. That's the issue. So, and I've been studying and applying all this for, I had that an original website that's no longer around, and then I've got the one that I've got. I started in 2016. So basically from 2016 and forward, I've been adding stuff to that website and cross-checking and make sure that the items are there. And then I would do some keyword research, and then about 4 months later, the game gets changed. Not everything I have on there has the proper keywords or description. Some of that stuff is very hard to figure out what keywords and descriptions you put in there, especially when you're doing like 400 hockey cards, like, so what keywords do you put on 400 hockey cards when, well, I don't have hockey cards. 400 of these types of cards, Marvel collecting cards, when it's like, you can only go so far, right? Then you run out of ideas. And then hoping that your competitors or other online retail stores, or whatever you want to call these people, have not used your exact same keywords and everything else. So now you've got to think even more about, it's just the headspace you're in. And of course, I can't afford to pay a whole bunch of people to do that all for me. So I am the one, the ultimate master of my universe. I'm my own He-Man. Anyway, but that's sort of the things that people don't know really what we're doing behind the scenes on websites. Unless, of course, you have your own website, like a store type one, and you're trying to do this all yourself as well. Okay, so, and yeah, I do have keyword research tools and everything else. Hey, Rod Regis is in the house. Cool. My Texas South friend, because Alberta is Texas North. I got oil industry, cattle, farming, plains, flatlands, all kinds of cool things. Hey, I'll have to check out Rod Rage's his late night garage. He mentioned me in one of the videos, so that was nice. Maybe he did it again. I don't know. I have to spy. Anyway, Lone Star Amigo, Northern Lone Star. Yeah, it's funny. If we could move Texas up just under the border of Alberta and then get some good leadership in there, we could probably have one of the most dominant oil industries combined that the world has ever known. But anyway, they're on opposite ends of the North American map. But at any rate, I think it would be nice to travel around. One thing that I wanted to do, but then finances and, well, now COVID kind of put a pause onto it. One thing I always thought that would be cool to do is drive the historic Route 66 and go all through there and see like what's still left. Actually, I need another thing that I need is to restore some of the classic cars that are rusting to pieces out in my backyard here. Basically, they're almost, well, my friend likes to call them garbage at this stage, but anyway, I tend to disagree, but then maybe I'm holding some nostalgia there. Anyway, or thinking that I can get them going again. But to take one of those and restore it enough and go drive historic Route 66. How many of you model car garage mechanics out there have driven that? Just let me know in the side there. Okay, so I'm getting this hood smooth, and one other thing I'm doing is I'm just lightly sanding it here. Now, if you sand your plastic before you put primer on there, that gives it a nice little tooth for the paint to go into all those little tiny sand cracks in and actually hold on to the hood a lot better, or the plastic, I mean. And yeah, so that's a good one. So Rob is saying he only drove in the parts of it in California, Route 66. Yeah, then I got to play on a continuous loop. Get your kicks on Route 66. Download the version they did in Swedish and everything. Right, 62-hour loop of that. See if I can not go insane. Anyway, okay. I don't know if there's a Swedish version of that, but so there's our hood, and it does have little hood tabby things on there, but hopefully I didn't accidentally sand the pins off of those. It didn't really look like there was much of any, but that is not going to stay on there forever. So what I could do is just drill 2 little holes in there. And I do have some brass rod, some of the K&S stuff. Okay, this is a sheet. These are actually shims, but the company is the same. K&S. I have a whole metal rack that I put on piece by piece over on the website there. Not yet time for a station identification break. But I've got just a really thin rod that I can use for those pins. And the other thing I thought of, now who joined me for the Wednesday video and you saw me drop this on the ground, my 29 Model A. And then I was saying about the, yeah, I know that. Rob is saying that the Route 66 is not continuous anymore. And that was because of the, what was it, the interstate highway that came in and replaced a lot of it. And then in some spots, the interstate goes and avoids a lot of it too. But so I think if you want to travel as much of the historic one as you can, you sort of have to go along the historic bit and then take one of the Interstate 10 exits and then go along Interstate 10 and then look for the next one and then come off of there and then you go back onto it. But anyway. Oh, yeah. So what I was saying is I was mentioning that top axle portion broke because there's a sort of a right hand hook on the bottom. I guess it's right hand. And then a left hand one on the top or vice versa. And that hook broke off. And that's why my front wheels don't want to stay in there. So I was taking a look at this and you see now it's flat there on the broken part. So I could take my file and just file that a little bit flatter. I won't do it now. And then I can drill 2 tiny holes in here. Okay, drill 2 tiny holes in there and then take that brass rod that I have and basically make a U-shaped clip. And then if I don't go crazy, try to put the clip into the 2 little holes and make the U-shape go right around the top of that kingpin. God, I hope I can do that. Anyway, get that around that kingpin and then push it in just enough so that it can still do its action there. I should be able to get that back on. See, I never would have figured this out at 12 or 14 years old or whenever I was when I built this. The other sort of unfortunate part is these wheels are supposed to rotate around. That's why you got that C-shaped Pac-Man thing and the brake drum in the back. But I glued them in place many a year ago, with the exception of one wheel, of course, which is the one at the back. And as you can see, there's a lot of play in this. And this one here is glued solid, so I don't know, maybe I should just pull the trigger and glue that one solid on the back, because, I mean, what does it matter? And the other thing I noticed is on all these Model A's, they've got that semi-elliptical spring, and this one seems to be glued in just off the ellipse, because you got to get that in absolutely perfect to have this thing go level. and this one is not. And you can see it in the fender well. See how high this wheel is on this side. And then when you turn it around, this one's really low right here. So I've got an alignment issue, and I wonder if, hoping when I was a kid I did not scrape the paint in there, and that this glue now is so antique that I can slip the hobby blade up underneath there and carefully pry that. I shouldn't do this on film in case I need to swear. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do it on film because I will need to swear or curse or say cussy words. That's they say in the States. Yeah, and I'll probably snap it in half, and then I really will be swearing. So let's not do that. Let's avoid all that complication, and let's continue on our van build. So right here, I've got that brace, and if I don't slice myself, I have an Atlas Super Saw. This is a model railroading thing that's been in our family for generations. My father owned it, as did my father before my father and his father's father, and on and on. No, I think my dad actually just bought it, and that's as far back as this goes. so, uh, so what I will do is there's a bit of a lip in here for the hood not to fall through into the engine bay. So we'll just follow that carefully. I have sliced myself with this thing. It is not a fun thing to cut yourself with. Okay, we're almost done. There we go. Come on. Gotta make sure I move my finger out from there. Yeah, this saw is at least 40 years old. Okay, I noticed things are going on. Rod Rages has got some little faces there. Careful, careful, careful. Then be careful not to saw into that angle by mistake too. That would not work out. Okay, there it is, gone. So now the only thing we need to do is find some file. I'll use this one just to get in there. Oh man. So I'm also a scout leader for our local group out here. And of course, right now the scouts are doing their Christmas tree lot. So unfortunately, I don't have time to volunteer for the Christmas tree lot. Maybe I'll look into it for next year when things settle down a bit. And this year also, not a lot of people have had time to sit there in the Christmas lot because the shifts are 3 hours long. And I guess with the COVID thing and all the rest too, right? There's not too many people that want to volunteer because of the COVID issue. So we've sort of stopped doing our scout program for the year, but they're still doing the tree lot because that goes until the 24th or something, I think. And there's a lack of volunteers. So unfortunately, when I was mailing out a package for somebody, in the parking lot there was my scout leader, or like my higher up guy or whatever you want to call him. And he said that because the scout lot wasn't attended, or the attendance there is kind of low, they've been having thefts of the Christmas trees, and people have stolen $2,500 worth of trees from the scout lot. Isn't that sick? So, yeah, that's not good at all. So hopefully some of those people can get caught, but I don't know if there's surveillance cameras out there or not. So really all you can do is load up the Christmas tree area with pit bulls and let people and Rottweilers and let people take their chances, I guess. But no, seriously, I mean, that's pretty terrible, I think. So keep that in mind, that kind of stuff does happen. Okay, so now I'm going to take this MDF block and go along the bottom, because if you can hear, here, you hear that, right? That is the seam line coming up at a very sharp angle and dragging off my fingerprint. I just realized I think I was going to tell a little story about something that my dad didn't know about, that I learned about in my life experiences. So I was saying before that I had my training in auto body collision repair, and I think I ended up answering someone's comment on the sidebar and I got sidetracked. So one thing my dad didn't know about was cross sanding. So, and I learned that in auto body. So you take your sandpaper, and instead of just going back and forth all the time, which make it so if you go back and forth with sandpaper and there's an error in the bodywork or whatever, your sandpaper will follow down into the error and then come out of it. So you think you're nice and flat, and then you actually find you're digging more of a hole into the area. So to prevent that, you cross sand. So what you do is, instead of going back and forth, or back and forth this way, which I guess is a form of cross sanding, but you go at a 45-degree angle this way for a little bit, and then you come across with the reverse angle at 45 degrees. So what cross-cutting does is it'll start forming it into this shape, but then cancel it by crossing over in the other direction. And then from there, you get your dead smooth. So that is that tip, which I don't think I got into mentioning. Okay, so now that I've sanded down this edge, I can just go at it with my hobby knife. And now you hear it's a lot smoother than that. So again, quite nice. But yeah, getting down that Route 66 would be quite a nice thing. I wonder what year that might be, like 2037, when we can finally get the restrictions off. But yeah, I've seen a lot of things going on with that US-Canada border in my lifetime. Because when I grew up, we used to have the biggest unprotected border in all of the world. And we had the nice hands across the border type thing. So yeah, back in the day, you used to go to the customs office. Or sorry, you would go down to the border and you get in that big lineup. And the customs officer, the old duty in customs, they would say, you usually go up to this booth, and here's this customs officer that has been saying the same thing all day long. So he looks kind of like, right, like dead. So he'd say, "Where are you from? Where are you going? How long are you going to be there? Okay, go through." So he'd say, "Where are you from? Oh, we're from Canada, British Columbia. Where are you going? Spokane, Washington. How long are you going to be there? About a week. Okay, go through." And that's what they did. Uh, or they'd also add in anything to declare, right? So, or maybe not. When you came back, they would say, Where are you from? The Canadians. Where are you from? How long you been there? Do you have anything to declare? Okay, pull your car over there. We're going to rip it all to pieces and see if you're lying. And then you got to put it back together. What? But they could say that. And a lot of people are actually sticking things underneath the seats and trying to smuggle stuff in. But we never did that. My dad did not want to sit there with his Buick in pieces, trying to put it back together. All kinds of other garbage. So that's the way the border crossing was all the way up until 9/11. Then after 9/11, it was, well, I don't know. I never tried to do this, but my neighbor, she has a boyfriend who is from Iran, I think, something like that. They went down to the border crossing just after 9/11 to do some shopping in Washington. And guess what happened? They were told to turn around and go home. They could not enter the US. And now, like I think that heat is kind of over with, but now you got the COVID thing. So you can't even drive your car across the US border without the COVID aspect. So that's what I mean. I've seen a lot of change on that US Canada border. Eventually, probably to the point where you can't even go across it anymore, which is probably the point now. I don't know. So, and then we had that thing where everybody was trying to flee the US from the previous president, and Trudeau just let everybody come in without even checking anybody's papers or anything. Fiasco. Oh, man. Oh, well. What can you do? What can you do when you're the common Canadian taxpayer? Just sit and watch, really. But at any rate. Yeah, I remember the Victoria Wax Museum in the 80s had a display that was about the border crossing that said largest unprotected border in history. And it had a wax figure of then Prime Minister, what's his name? Terrible. Brian Mulroney. It was Brian Mulroney and Ronald Reagan as wax figures sitting there in this. The backdrop, I guess, was the Peace Arch. And they're shaking hands, and they're both on one side of the Peace Arch. That was the Wax Museum display. And that was from about 1987, I think. The old Victoria Wax Museum. And then downstairs they have the Chamber of Horrors, HORRORS, not the other word that Santa Claus says right now. And they had, I wonder if this is still around. I haven't been there in a long time. But in the basement, they had the Pit and the Pendulum with the wax figure under there and the blades coming down and cutting the guy in half. And then they had Hitler, Himmler, and Goring in a prison cell. And then they had one that was this prison, I guess, in the old Tower of London or something. And they had it was just a little cubby hole in the wall in this prison. This is a recreation in the Wax Museum. And they had a prisoner, and he's like squished into the cubby hole. And that was his cell with the metal doors on it. And apparently it was saying that, I think it was the French. So this would have been prior to the French Revolution. So this guy was in this cell, probably in like that Louis XIV, I think it was, at time frame, and he squished into this cell. And it said that when he was released from the French Revolution, he didn't want to leave, and they actually they let him stay in the cell under his own request because I guess, I don't know, maybe he was afraid of the outside world, or maybe he couldn't straighten out. Like, I don't know, but he stayed there, that guy. That was a true thing. I don't know how you'd find that story, though. Google it. French prisoner that was stuck in a little cubbyhole in the pre-revolution era. I don't know. Yeah, they also had in that wax museum upstairs, not in the Chamber of Horrors part. I do remember they had Margaret Thatcher and they had Gorbachev, Reagan, and Mulroney. Now, I don't know so much for Mulroney at the time, but definitely the real political powerhouse back in those days was uh, Gorbachev, Reagan, and Margaret Thatcher. I kind of wish we could get people like that back in power again. But you really can't, because the times and circumstances that they were in are way different from what we got now. But at any rate, I wasn't going to get too political. Maybe historical. Is historical safer than political? Political, historical. How safe is that? I don't know. But it is time for a station identification break. So my name once again is Trevor Slescu, owner of Monster Hobbies Online. This is an old decal. Pull it off. This is our current address, www.monster-hobbies.ca. Our phone number is 403-652-5019. We have a Canadian-based website, so our prices are in Canadian dollars. So if you're joining us from the States, like Rod Regis out there in Texas, just do a currency conversion to see what our prices are. We offer free shipping on Canadian orders over $75. Pardon me. Gas is free. Anyway, so over $75, we accept PayPal and credit cards. We use a secure pay system on our shopping cart. So if you use your credit card, all that information is eliminated at the end of the transaction. We ship around the world, and we offer tracking numbers as well so that we can easily find your package. And if you look on the sidebar on our website, there is a newsletter that you can join every 2 weeks. I'm trying anyway to bring out some new information from the hobby shop, and I'm also adding in some tips and techniques that you should find useful in building model kits overall, because our store deals with more than just model cars. So that is about it for that. So now carrying on with our van, I'm in the process of just getting rid of the seam lines along the perimeter of the kit before I get up into the top. And there is a really harsh seam line. Don't know how well you can see this. There's a harsh seam line that runs from the bottom corner here and goes all the way up. And I can feel it up along the, what do you call it, drip rail molding. And then it does come down here, kicks over and tapers off on the top edge of the fender right there. And then, of course, would drop down, straight down off here. So I'm going to try to carefully remove parts of this. And go up along the top of that fender edge. So I don't know which way would be best to paint this, with either it being red or just paint the whole thing white. And I know it's a preference thing. So, of course, I'm going to be doing mine different from yours. So I will just throw this out there. once I just test this seam line. So if you had this Coca-Cola van model, this one, or if you built it, what color scheme would you paint it? Would you do that Coca-Cola red with the white roof? Or would you do this pure white and use the red Coca-Cola decals instead of the white ones? Or would you come up with your own paint scheme? Maybe do it black as Coke Zero or something like that. Hey, hello, Stephen Holland from Southern Illinois. Welcome to the show. Is this your first time out here, or maybe several? Do I need to do the station identification thing again? No, it's okay. I'll save that to the half-hour mark. So in another 20 minutes, I'll do my little spiel again. But it is so nice that you could join us. A little earlier on, we were talking about Route 66. So I'm not too sure, does that go through Illinois? The original historic Route 66? I think it's more northern, goes from California to New York, but oh, it does go through, so that's good to know. Yeah, I was saying that's one thing I would like to do. Time, money, and classic car is to head along historic Route 66 and just see all those old things. If it's anything like the movie Cars, although I have Googled it a little bit, so there are some neat things out there. Do you or Danny remember the 132 Revell Magic Glow Racers? I'm not too sure. I know there was 132 scale Luminators race cars. Those are more monogram, but I'm not sure on those ones. One. Make it so, number one. Okay, up underneath the hood, up under the hood, click, click, comes St. Nick. There are some more mold marks. Now these ones might interfere, with this panel, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, they're kind of sitting on top of it. I forget. I don't know how I get the camera in there. So with this mini file, I will see if I can remove these. Now there is room in here to maneuver and get more of a push on it, but you gotta have your file so located underneath here. And there's actually 6 on that inside roof. And that is that deep dive with the number 16 blade. Pretty hard to get the pressure in underneath there that this needs. There we go. Maybe. So I'm using the cross sanding technique under here, which I know you can't see. I need to take my camera and put it on my shoulder. Boy, that worked well. You can't really see it. Too bad. I need to paint this red inside here, and then when I sand down one of these things, you see a nice little white circle. Another thing, I'll tell you, number one, another thing that I want to get for my kids, but I might have missed the boat, is the Wacky Racers kits from MPC. I have an original Penelope Pit Stop one in chrome plated, and she's yellow. It's really odd. But I'd like to get another set of those to paint up because we ended up finding the Hanna-Barbera Wacky Racers DVD. So we were watching all those. That's a complete series. Trying to see who won who won it overall. Because when I was doing slot car racing, we used to have a scoreboard and all that other stuff. So we would, of course, know which slot car racer guys in the club were where, right? So then when we started watching the Wacky Racers, we were trying to figure out which one of those guys had won. And then I found out that we didn't have to sit there and watch every single episode, which we did anyway. But all that information is actually online. Somebody else did that for us. So thank goodness for whoever that was. And I know they'll probably never watch my video, but I'd like to thank them just the same. Saved about probably 3 months of trying to sort that one out. It's one of those waste time projects that I like to throw myself into when I should really be like uploading things on the website so that nice folks like you guys can maybe see it and see if you want to buy it. Yeah, I'm really bad. I don't know. There's something. I gotta look at the bigger picture, but sometimes doing things like putting in 5,000 collector cards, just something about that turns any human into a robot, and that's no fun. No fun at all. RC drift cart with an animatronic robot driver. Is that what you're working on, Rodrageous? Or is that something else you're talking about? That sounds kind of cool, though. Okay, so wheel arches is another spot where your seam lines are going to end up. And for that, I'll just use my number 16 hobby blade. I sort of start there and then roll around. Hey, Jovic has come in. How's it going? I think I got 45 minutes left of this. So hopefully that's okay. I know everybody's doing their Christmas shopping now. So it's been quite an adventure. And then next Saturday is actually Christmas itself. So, and then number one is mentioned that I should be having a Boxing Day sale on my website. And then he's mentioning this dream percentage that he would like to have, but I don't think it's actually going to be that high. Hey, I still got family to feed, right? Anyway, so I'll be looking into that and seeing if I can come up with a fancy code word. The problem is, how do I let you guys know? I think what I'll do is I will leave it on the community tab once I get it sorted out. Oh, and then of course on my Facebook page and everywhere else where I'm actually a store, right? So I'll put that on there. And maybe I should take up that offer of that percentage. The thing is, I could get a bunch of stuff moved out of here. Now that I'm not paying that rent that I was at the old location, maybe I'll consider it. How about that? So Jovic is asking how I am doing. I'm doing pretty good. I am still trying to upload a billion things onto my website. When the mood fits me. And of course, next week is Christmas. The week after is New Year's. Oh, pardon me. So what I'm thinking of doing is not doing the live stream for those 2 upcoming weekends, because I know everyone's going to be out doing other things, friends and family and whatnot. But what I might do instead, I guess I can still do my Wednesday model car showing because there's no holiday coming up on the Wednesdays. And what I might end up doing is I've got a lot of this model that I'm working on into the point where I can paint things. So I might just do a regular YouTube video and just show painting those parts. And then the following week do another one of something else. Maybe putting the chrome onto the painted parts once they're dry. And then use those as normal videos. And then in that week in January, when we come back to off of holiday and all the rest, go back to the Saturday live stream. Because then by that time, all the holidays are over and I can't really do a live stream where I'm painting because, I'm sitting on this gigantic desktop computer and there's no way I'm going to unplug everything on it just to move this one little camera basically outside into my painting area. So when I can just set up a tripod and use my Canon camera and then just have that video release it on Christmas Day. And then if you guys are doing Christmas stuff, I mean, you can always watch it on the 27th or after Boxing Day or something like that. So it won't be such a big deal. But to try to do it live on Christmas, I don't think I'll see anybody. And then I'll be sitting here doing this 2-hour live stream and everybody will be like my family will be like, come on down, what are you doing? So let's avoid that. Anyway. Yeah, and I don't want you guys getting in trouble either trying to catch in on the live stream. So it's a little bit rough on this corner edge. So I'll just take my my sanding block and try to get that down. I hope this sanding is not just like completely blowing everyone away on the microphone. It's supposed to relax you. It's supposed to be ASMR. That new thing people are doing on YouTube where they don't say anything. They just let the sound effects talk. ASMR. Relax, everybody relax. I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to conquer this really horrendous bit of flash on this seam line up here. And the only way to really get at this is, I guess I could scrape there, but I think that's the wrong answer. So I'll try to obliterate this with my sanding block. This is a sanding block that's mounted, or a piece of sandpaper that's glued onto a MDF block. So you've got a nice dense, straight, flat line right there to work with. And then what you want to do is cross sand. So I just sanded at this angle here. And now to make this a lot smoother, go at the reverse angle. Let's see, the reverse angle, and go along this way. So now we're starting to get, now that ridge is gone. And it does have some pretty deep scratches. But now I could take this hobby blade, just carefully sand or scrape some of those with the adzing technique, and then take our worn out sandpaper here. Should really refresh this. what I should be doing is going on this with 400 grade, and then after the 400 grade, go up with 600 grade, and then after the 600 grade, sand that with 800 grade. Go over the whole model with 800 or between 6 and 800 grade before priming, and that will give you a nice tooth in there so that the paint adheres into the little scratches into the plastic. So I will continue to get rid of this seam line here. And then I've got sort of a fold right into that corner with the seam line. So down here, I will scrape it with my knife, just carefully. And then just a little bit on that molding there. There we go, nice and smooth. And just hit it with our worn out piece of sandpaper here. So now, just go over the edge. You can hear nothing's dragging, and I'm moving my fingers like that over it. Whereas on this side, you can hear it drag. So that smooths that out. Okay, then over here on this side, now when I'm doing this stuff, I like to have it all in my sanding going on in one area. But you could actually follow that seam line up, go over, come down, go across, and then remove it up here and then come down this way, just so you're working in a circle more. But I think this should do it. So hopefully everybody is enjoying tuning into this video. I know it's a kind of like watching somebody work. In fact, it's 100% watching somebody work. But I don't know, it's always fun just to hang out with everybody and see who's writing stuff in the sidebars and how you're generally doing. And how are your models coming along? Are you guys getting something done there? What are you working on today? Let us know over in the comments section there. In the chat box. And I got to thank all the people that are surviving up to this point in my videos, watching away. Maybe you're working on some projects or compiling a Christmas list of gifts or working on your income tax. And government sent me a nice letter saying, here's your papers that you're going to need for your goods and services sales taxes. They always send those letters out around this time of the year to the small businesses. But my favorite letters from the government are the ones that say, here's a check. Anyway. And I definitely don't want another one that says, you owe us this. I have had those a couple of times. Never any fun. All right, that's taking care of the seam line off the back. I still have this one underneath. I should check this. Did I get all those wheel arches? Okay, since it's Christmas time, I just thought of something. What is your favorite Christmas TV special, I guess you'd say? Maybe that's too broad. Let's do it this way. What is your favorite Rankin and Bass TV special? So there's, let's see if we can think of them. So there's A Year Without a Santa Claus, and that's the one that has Heatmeister and Coldmeister in it. Then, of course, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And then Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Jack Frost, that was a cartoon one. Then the Frosty the Snowman ones. But I think mine is the Heatmeister one. Heatmeister and Coldmeister. I'm Mr. Heat Blister. I'm Mr. Sun. Dee-dee-dee-dee. That's such a great tune. I'm Mr. 101. They call me Heatmeister. Whatever I touch starts to melt in my clutch. I'm too much. Do-do-do-do. I'm Mr. Coldmeister. I'm Mr. Snow. Dee-dee-dee-dee. I'm Mr. 40 Below. Too much. All right. What about Elf on the Shelf locations? Do you have small kids that are into that Elf on the Shelf? This year, with our confined spaces here because of the having to close the store down and move everything back home, it's really tough to find a spot to stick the Elf on the Shelf that you haven't already covered that ground 30 times. So we ended up putting them in the fridge at one point. Fun stuff. Okay, so we got our station identification break coming up here. After these messages, I'll be right back. In fact, I won't even leave. Okay. So my name is Trevor Ursulescu, owner of Monster Hobbies in High River, Alberta, Canada. Actually, we're now Monster Hobbies Online. Our address is www.monster-hobbies.ca, and you can reach us on phone 403-652-5019. Where operators, which is me, are standing by. We're a Canadian-based website. Our prices are in Canadian dollars. We offer free shipping on Canadian orders over $75, and we can ship around the world. We use tracking numbers and Canada Post in order to get your package safely out to you. We accept PayPal and credit cards on our secure payment system. So if you provide us with your credit card information on a sale, at the end of the transaction, it is automatically eliminated. No one can get access to that. So all your information is safe and secure. If you use the promotional code YouTube in lowercase letters as one word at the shopping cart level, you can save 10% off your next purchase with us. And don't forget to sign up on our website on this side here for our newsletter, which comes out twice a month. And I'm going to be including a lot of tips and techniques and links to videos and everything else in those newsletters so that it's not just a sales thing, so that you can actually get some good benefit out of them. So we're continually building, at least I am, the 1977 Ford at our build party. And we've got a lot of nice people over here in the chat box to chat with as we build this along. So right now I am working on my 77 Ford van from AMT. I got this actually last Christmas as a gift, and I'm now actually building it this Christmas with all of you. This is actually our 5th video, if you can believe that. Our 5th build party with so many wonderful people joining in as it goes along. And hopefully a lot of you have built your own model cars as we've been going along on this. And if you want, let us know how you're progressing over here. You can also share your images on our Facebook page. Okay, so I have cleaned out the wheel arches. You know, I'm kind of thinking of something. For Christmas, usually, well, when I'll order something for myself from my wholesalers, and then you know, somebody will get it for me and my family here, or I just pull it out of stock, something like that. So I've got those 3 garage sets: the get on up, the weekend wrenching, and the what's the third one called? The stop shop or whatever. And if you get all 3, it makes a nice diorama. Now, originally when I ordered those kits in, I was going to keep a set and build it, and then have a a display of that in the store, so that people would see that garage thing, get inspired, and then buy the other garage sets. But then circumstances kind of made it so that I couldn't take the garage set out of circulation, I guess, and build it. But of course, now I no longer have the brick and mortar store, so trying to pay the extra rent to the landlord does not exist. Hang on. It's dust. Don't worry. Okay, so now that that doesn't exist, I won't say don't have to sell those, but I could actually go back to my original idea, because I got 2 sets of all that garage stuff. I could actually just take one of those and build it. And I can also do the unboxing video and get it ready for when I actually, because in the future I do want to get Monster Hobbies going again as a proper brick and mortar store. So I could build these displays, I could put them on YouTube, I could have a whole bunch of content there, and then when the store's ready to go, I'll have a model to display, provided that they still have that garage thing by then. Maybe it doesn't matter. Okay, so what I'm doing here is, on this rail, the drip rail, the seam line runs up there, so I'm very carefully going across this, not to obliterate that nice rail that's molded in, but just to get the seam line out of it. So you got to be careful on that. Now let's see. I could clean this with the tip of the knife. If I go there. Okay, and then I'll use my found paper. Nobody's writing. Okay. Usually, like when I take my glasses off, somebody will write something. Okay, so now I'm going down this strip rail molding right here. I can see the seam line on the top of that fender. Speaking of that Frosty the Snowman from Rankin and Bass, I belong to a bunch of monster model Facebook groups. And one thing that I saw that was kind of cool was somebody took the King Kong model, the old Aurora one, and they painted King Kong blue, BLUE, blue. And then they took white fur and glued it all over to him and made him turn the King Kong into the abominable snowman from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So that was kind of cool. Okay, so there's that seam line that's right on there. And just drag my hobby knife along it, and I just noticed I actually scratched the next panel here with the tip of that hobby knife. So that wasn't quite the most carefulest thing I've done. Okay, there. I cleaned that out. Maybe on this side I'll just sandpaper it. Okay, so there is a little seam line right in here. Not a seam line. It's the part separation line from the fender to the windshield cowl, or windshield post, I mean. So be careful not to fill that in, because that's actually part of the van. So just a heads up. So now I've got this side clear. So let's just do the same on this strip rail molding. Also keep in mind there's seam lines in around the windows. So that will be next, I believe. So what's everyone's plans for later on today? Anybody got anything? Possibly Christmas shopping again? I am meeting one of my customers who is into Warhammer. Did I just sand that off? Uh-oh. And okay, there we go. So I'm meeting one of my Warhammer customers, and he's picking up a bunch of stuff. And he's also buying some of my old scenery from the store, so that will clear up a little space in my basement. Little space. But that's what I'm doing. And then I do believe we're going to do some more Christmas shopping tonight. I kind of do like Christmas shopping with everybody on one hand, because what we'll do is we'll go up to the mall in Calgary, and then we can go to the food court. And like normally through the year, going what's going on? Okay. Normally through the year, we don't get to go shopping like that. And we definitely don't get to go to the food court too often. So Christmas shopping sort of becomes more of a traditional family affair. So even though normally we try not to eat out, it is nice to actually get that time to do that. And this year we're not too present heavy as far as Christmas goes. Like they say in gambling, set a limit, keep within it. Anyway, it's like Christmas this year. Set a limit, keep within it. Um, my oldest daughter said something nice. She says, I don't really care if we get too many presents this year. I just want to spend the time together. So that means she wants an Xbox. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just saying. No, so that was pretty nice. And no, I don't have money for an Xbox. Actually, you know what's funny is, hang on a minute, just trying to get this stuff out of here. So when my daughters were born, I still have a PlayStation 2. In fact, I got two of them because one broke. So I got a PlayStation 2, and I had a whole bunch of the games that were popular at the time. So like Guitar Hero and Mafia, the first one, a bunch of the Silent Hill series, things like that. So I was thinking when the girls were born that that I have to put all that stuff away, of course, because the babies would get into it and everything else, right? So I was thinking, oh, I guess when I bring this out again, Sony is going to be into PlayStation 5. That's what I thought to myself. So I thought the next time I buy another PlayStation, it's going to be PS5. Well, now my little girls are no longer babies anymore. So guess what PlayStation is on the market right now? 5. But I don't have that $400 or $500 to lay down on one of those things. And to be honest, if you look at the video games that are available, they're all the same games or the same type of game that was there since I guess 1995 or 6. It's just the graphics are better, and that's about it. Because really, what is left? If you have a car, if your video games are about cars, you're going to be going down a road. Your car needs to go left and right. It needs to go forward and back. Although I don't think there's reverses in car video games. Maybe now. But your car still has to have the dynamics to drift and everything else. Well, all that stuff was figured out in about 1998 or 96 or 95 or whatever. So what's left? New roads, different courses, maybe somewhat better response time, and better graphics. But apart from that, you're still driving down a road. Same with the first-person shooters. Like Halo, for example. You're still a guy. You still have a weapon. You still run around. You still shoot stuff. And even with some of the modern computer-based games, they almost look like games that we would have had in 95. So what's the sense of buying a PS5 when I'll be playing the exact same thing? I'd rather do this, even though I'm building the same model. I guess I could get a PS5 and then start a channel where I'm gaming and then end up like Mr. Beast or something. I don't know. Who wants to watch Trevor play car racing video games? Should I add that to the Monster Hobbies Model Car Garage or forget it? I know. I think I would forget it. I have been debating uploading my slot car videos on here, though. But then I've already got channels that cover that, and then my slot car videos are already old. and I can't make new ones because I no longer have a building to lay out, 4 4x8 tables to build the tracks that I have. So I don't know. Anyway, I think we're coming up to pretty much the end of this live stream, since I'm only doing them for 2 hours. And we're an hour and 51 minutes in, according to the clock up there. So, still gives us 9 minutes. How are your projects going, everybody? You getting anything done? Are you pretty much where I am, which is almost got a car body completely sanded and ready for that, the fine sandpaper to get the tooth in here. Okay, so I did this window. I gotta do this window. Oh yeah, and try to get rid of those mold marks up in this roof. Oh, and my time hours for YouTube are getting pretty close to that monetization step for me. 3,650 watch time hours. And I know this live stream also will help that. So what I'm thinking is, when I hit the 4,000 watch time hours, I could release another unboxing video, one like I did with the Paris taxi cab. Because remember, at the time, there was a choice between the Paris taxi cab video and the Lotus, like on the old Prisoner British TV show. And everybody seemed to favor the 1911 taxi. So I did that video on that one. But that still leaves the Lotus. It still leaves the Lotus without a video. So let me know if you want to see that video. Actually, I guess maybe I can release that video as a special thank you thing for hitting the 4,000 watch time hours. So there's only like 350 watch time hours left. And then the Monster Hobbies Model Car Garage can get monetized. And actually, at one point in time, this channel was monetized. But that was when YouTube used to do monetization for, I think it was something like you needed 10,000 views. Maybe that's what it was. Your YouTube channel needed 10,000 views, and then you would get monetized. So back at that time, I had 3 channels that went right up to that full monetization under those old requirements, like within a few months. So when you get monetized, you set up a Google AdSense account, and then they pay you, right? So I had this Google AdSense account, and it generated $27. And then YouTube said, no, you need now to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch time hours. So with Google AdSense, they will only release your money once you hit $100. So I've had this $27 lingering in this Google AdSense thing for about 5 years. So what I'm going to do is, when this channel becomes monetized, I'm going to hook it up so that I can get that, whatever I'm getting for monetization for everybody watching these videos, plus that $27 out of that thing that I've been waiting for maybe 4 or 5 years now. So hopefully everybody will watch these videos and I can get that old issue settled. I always find it hard getting the seam lines out around these side windows. Oh, there's a phone call. Oh, it's the neighbor next door. And it suffer the children. I should have given the phone to my wife here. She's probably running around looking for it. Maybe we'll get the special guest star popping through that door back there. All right. So I've almost got this done. I've kind of run out of time here. The time is gone. Where did it go? It always goes fast when you want it slow. We did play games. We had a blast. I can't remember the rest because I saw that when I was 5. The polka dot door, I think that was from. Something like that. I don't know anymore. Okay. So I will clean that up for next time, which will be the videos, I guess. So anyway, as a final, my name, of course, again, is Trevor Ursulescu, owner of Monster Hobbies. We are now online, so this address doesn't mean anything anymore, but this one does, www.monster-hobbies.ca. You can also phone the store at 1-403-652-5019, unless you're local. You don't need the one. Our website is priced in Canadian dollars. So if you're from any other country, you can always put the prices into a currency conversion, which is a free search on Google. We ship free on Canadian orders over $75 anywhere in Canada. USA, we can ship down to there. And then anywhere in Europe and all the rest. We offer a tracking number. All our shipments are through Canada Post, so we can find them. And we accept PayPal and credit cards using our secure pay system on our website. So that means that if you use your credit card information at the end of the transaction, it is eliminated. None of your info is sold to anybody for any reasons or any of that stuff. And even I cannot access it afterwards. If you use the promo code YouTube on the sidebar, you will get the free newsletter. No, wait. If you use the promo code YouTube in the shopping cart, you get 10% off your next purchase through our website. And sign up for our newsletter online, which is off the side. That comes out every 2 weeks. And I'm trying to add in some good content into there besides the stuff that's available for sale. So that good content stuff would be like tips and tech and maybe some images or something like that. You know, one thing I'm thinking of is I have original Amt instruction sheets. Now these came in 1963 and that sort of thing. And they have these cool items and whatnot on the back. And one of them, it's not on this one. Yeah. So like for AMT's 1949 Mercury, the 3-in-1. Okay, it still doesn't show. But anyway, these are the instructions that came out when George Barris was still around and working with AMT. So these would be from like 1961, 62, somewhere in there. And they offer you all these really cool alternate building ideas from George Barris himself. Let's see if I can find a Barris one. Specifically Barris. Of course. Without having an accident back here. Yeah, here's one. That was good. So these ones have George Barris on the back. You can see him right there. And then it says, you know, as an alternate motor, you can put this one in from one of the other AMT kits. And then here's a design nose that you can make. Custom grill from 57 T-Bird kit floats neatly in the 49 custom front grill shell. And, you know, things like these. And these are really quite amazing. So maybe I can, if you sign up for the newsletter, I could scan one of these pictures in, and then like give you the tips from back in the past, 1962 George Barris. So anyway, I want to thank everybody that watched this video, survived to the end. I see that's 2 people. So thanks to those 2 people. And until next time, go this way. Till next time, happy model building, everyone. And we will see you Wednesday, I believe. So have a good one.